How are you? I wanted to come in today and talk about boundaries. So many of the women that I work with are very challenged when it comes to setting boundaries. So I wanted to just share an idea of what boundaries are, how to set some healthy boundaries, or where do you get to look at within yourself to set or determine why your boundaries are the way that they are. So, what is a boundary? I used to be so nervous about setting boundaries. I felt like boundaries were restraining, and so I think today what I like to talk about is just how do you open up your idea of how boundaries can really be supportive to you. So you have boundaries with yourself, boundaries with money, boundaries with food, boundaries with relationships, boundaries with your children, boundaries around your health, your well being, all these different areas of your life that you get to set boundaries around. So, for today, just think of one area that you really want some support around because it doesn't matter what area you want boundaries or what areas that you pick. Everything in our life is connected. So if you focus on one area, it will help improve all areas. The one that I would like to focus on in this conversation is the boundary with yourself. Because if you lack boundaries with yourself, you're going to lack boundaries with everything else in your life. You are a physical manifestation of where you are thinking, feeling, and thinking, feeling, and living in your mind and your energetic body. That becomes your reality. So if you look at your boundaries, I'm going to talk one specifically around food because this was a boundary for myself that was so challenging for me to find a healthy balance in this area. So for those that don't know me, my name is Brenda Kiss, and I've helped thousands of women reconnect back to their heart, to live a life of happiness, of joy, of passion, to create a life that they truly love. Known as the Manifestation Queen, and I want to share with you when I was, I'll say, in my suffering days where I lived in the victim story of my life, which, if you're there, I'm sending you so much love and support, knowing that you have a choice to get out of that story. Um, but for years, I had struggled with weight, and weight made me extremely unhappy, made me not want to do things, made me either, if when I was skinny, I was like, okay, I'm good enough. And then when I gained weight, I was terrible. So it gave me this really big range of variety of emotions that I was quite addicted to be honest. You know, feeling really good, then feeling really bad, like this on this emotional roller coaster. And when I thought about boundaries with food, I couldn't find that healthy boundary. It was either I was so strict and so like rigid with everything that it was very, I'll say, painful to get the results that I wanted, right? To be skinny and healthy and fit. I had a lot of limitations, or I put a lot of limiting boundaries around what was acceptable. And then I would fly off and do the other and then eat whatever I wanted and just so like that's not working. Let me go all the way over here. And it's finding that healthy boundary. And the way that you do that, is really by getting to know you, really by trusting yourself. And so often through, I'll just say, a weight loss journey or a body image challenge or other things that you may have gone through in your life, we begin to look for answers outside of us, and we rely on those answers, those people's, those their experience to then have an answer for yourself. The truth is, in order to develop healthy boundaries for yourself, you really get to know you, get to know the reasons why you have unhealthy boundaries. Why did I have so many unhealthy boundaries? around food. It was because that I believed I didn't deserve to be skinny. I had stories around being skinny. I had perceptions on how you had to do it. And if you all hear, it's the I forgot that there's a higher power that helps me. So second is one, getting to know you. Two is tapping into your higher power, tapping into the universe for guidance and connection and trusting that process. And three is feeling into your emotions around the boundaries that you're setting, right? So when I went on those strict diets, I didn't have any feelings around it. I just wanted the results, so I just did whatever was told to do. And then I was annoyed and not have my own way, and then I would go the complete opposite way. And it wasn't until you get into this zone of knowing your thoughts. What are the thoughts you have around food or money or time or relationships or career? Is it that it's too hard? You have to do it a certain way. Um, I don't have time for this. Right? These are stories that I've had. And so what are the thoughts that that are around the boundary you want to set? What are the feelings? What is the energy? How is the energy feeling within you around the boundary you want to set? So when it comes to setting healthy boundaries, you're going to get to tune in a few days, and I'm going to set how do you set healthy boundaries. But I really want you to look at right now, what is the boundary that you want to set? If it's with a relationship, with yourself, with food, with time. So when I set my healthy relationship with food, it's really what foods serve me, what foods feel good in my body, what foods don't. So I learned when I started to listen to myself and listen to my body, I started to really I started to get super aware of what foods my body was craving, what foods I felt like my body would be supported by. And so I wasn't following anybody's program, but I started to make boundaries for myself. I learned that dairy and gluten do not feel good in my body. And when I do it, because I do give myself grace, and when I do it, I either have to consciously choose, is this going to upset my stomach and my body, inflame it? And am I willing to allow that? Is that a boundary that I want to cross? Right? But it isn't until I did those three things that I was able to come up with this. So it's really looking at what boundary you want to look at. Just pick any. And then decide not decide, notice what's the emotions you're feeling around that boundary or lack of boundary. What's the need, that addiction of the boundary? What is that giving you? What are the feelings? And if you were to set one shift, if you were to shift one thing in one boundary area, what would that be? And that's what I want you to drop in the chat below. What would that be? And now, whatever that is, follow through on that, because that's going to get you to the next level. If you don't follow through, you're just continuously breaking trust with yourself, and it's going to be more challenging to find yourself. So there you go. Tune in tomorrow. We're going to be talking about how does boundaries affect your manifesting. So how does boundaries affect your manifesting? I'll see you tomorrow. Let me know where you're at right now with what boundary you're going to work on, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.